What's up, you're on with Mario Lopez. Joining me now in studio, the iconic Dolph Lundgren. So good to have you, sir. My 12-year-old self is so excited right now. So is my 45-year-old self, by the way. I want to get right to it, Dolph. Creed 2, you're back as Ivan Drago. What's it been like returning to this character after so long?
Well, it's been mixed emotions. It was surreal when Stallone texted me about 2 years ago. Just a text, how do you feel about playing this guy again? Whatever it is. And I was like, I don't know, Sly. I said, yeah, sounds interesting. And then, I got worried that it was going to be like a bad script. He was going to be like another, one-dimensional bad guy, like back in the 80s. Then the script came in really, really good. Fantastic, not just for me, for everybody. The director's is young African-American guy, Stephen Capel. He was a terrific director. And then I started really getting into it, like, whoa, I get to play this guy 30 years later, aged, flawed, with a son.
With some depth.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, great.
I vividly remember, because this movie came out 1985. I was 12 years old. I had just turned 12 years old. And Reagan was in office, and it was just a total propaganda film, really. And but it was great. Yeah. So with all this American pride and painting you as this villain, and you just look like a real life comic book character that came to life. And as a little kid, it was just like, wow, it just symbolized so much. Did you have any reservations revisiting it because it was so iconic?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I didn't want to mess with that iconic character and do something that wouldn't live up to it or would like damage it or make it worse. I mean, the guy was a bad guy. It was during the nuclear standoff between America and Russia and Soviet Union. Cold War, and you couldn't mess. You couldn't have a Soviet villain who was kind of likable. You could kind of make him real bad. And now times are slightly different. And I was worried about that. But like I said, the director and the script, and when I read the first scene, when you find Ivan back in Ukraine with nothing, no money, little crappy apartment. It's cold, hardly has any food. He looks worn out. And it kind of reminded me of the first Rocky.
Yeah.
Okay, full circle.
It is full circle moment. That's the thing about boxing too, is you have a lot of full circle moments. There's so many great stories told, and it's been captured on film so much. So that's cool that we get to see that, raising the awareness level for this generation, and also for the people that have been such fans to see it come a full circle. So you're the guy who plays your son in the film. He looks good. He looks like a real fighter. Where'd you find him, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the guy who plays my son, Florian Munteanu, he is from Romania, lives in Germany, and Stallone found him, actually. Stallone has a knack for finding new talent, whether it's football player Apollo Creed, Carl Weathers, whether it's a Swedish guy, with Drago, or a bouncer is Clubber Lang, and they found this guy.
Right.
And I had met him. I met him at MGM. I hadn't signed a picture yet, and I met him up at MGM with the director, and I looked over. There he was, like, okay, 6'5", 240, looked formidable. I said, okay. He'll do. He can give me my son, no problem.
You spawned well.
Yep.
And this is really exciting too. You're also in another movie I've been looking forward to seeing, Aquaman, and you play a king, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's 7 kingdoms, undersea kingdoms, and one is Atlantis, where Jason Momoa's character Aquaman is battling with Patrick Wilson, who's his half brother. Their mother is Nicole Kidman, and they're battling for control. And there's this other kingdom, Zebel, where I am the king, and my daughter, Amber Heard, is now, of course, falling in love with Aquaman, and that drags my kingdom into the battle. And I'm trying to keep the peace there, but it's a hard job, and somebody had to do it.
I bet. Well, Aquaman is your son-in-law. That's a handful right there.
Yeah, it took me 33 years to play a king, but
hey,
better late than never.
At least, yeah. By the way, I only think that they could have revisited this concept with Drago and entertained this as a storyline because you look so good. Honestly, if you would have came in looking busted, and we were so used to seeing Drago looking great. I mean, you really look great. So that's one of the reasons I think it really is able to work. But that's a credit, because I know how hard it is to stay in shape for so long, but you managed to do it for decades now. How have you been doing it?
Well, thanks, man. Thanks, Mario. Well, look, a part of it in the film, I do look kind of aged, but it's different when they age you with makeup and making you look a little scruffy as opposed to trying to look good, but you don't, like the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the first version. I have stayed in pretty good shape, and I did work out for this film quite a bit, mostly weights, a little bit of boxing, and I've had some injuries through martial arts. I had to work on that as well. But I wanted to look, big enough to muscle my son around, and he's a big dude, So then, of course, the director, we want, I got a first day of shooting. I was in the background in the shot, and then the MGM's comments came in. Dolph's looking too good. paler, grayer hair.
Yeah, no, I bet. But that's what's cool. It's like you still look like you'd take Rocky right now.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I know you've got a couple daughters, right?
I got 2 daughters. Yeah, Ida and Greta. Swedish names. And Ida is in New York working as a model, and Greta is in school in London.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So they're busy doing their own thing. What do you got planned for the holidays?
They're both coming over here. We're going to hang in L.A. I got a new place here. So with my beautiful girlfriend sitting over there, Jenny, and my daughters, we're going to hang in the house, chill out, go to the beach, and just enjoy Los Angeles because I love this place, the city. But I've been gone now for almost 9 months on these 2 pictures, so I want to come back and chill here.
Nice. But this is home now, L.A.
This is home, man. Yeah, for sure.
Can't beat that. Well, before I let you go, I want to put you on the spot. Quick questions, quick answers, okay?
Yeah.
Favorite Christmas song?
Let's see. What's the one with Frank Sinatra? What's the good one?
Any of them are good ones.
No, I know which one is my favorite. It's Judy Garland, Have Yourself a Little Merry Little Christmas. That one. Because this film is kind of a heart-wrenching story.
Not to digress, but I remember right now, Rocky IV, you guys fought on Christmas Day.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
See, you're not a major fan.
And Paulie played a little, he had a little weird little song. Remember, he played on his little Walkman. Was it the, that's what they call the Munchkins Christmas?
Yeah, the Munchkins one.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. That's right. Because Christmas Day, I was like, oh, that'd be cool.
So that obviously is your favorite holiday movie, then.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think Rocky IV qualifies then, right? That would qualify.
If there's a Christmas scene, I think it does, technically.
They fought on Christmas Day.
So there.
That was Christmas Day. Oh, my gosh.
I second that.
Celebrity crush growing up.
Celebrity crush? Okay. I think it would have been Clint Eastwood. Probably, because I saw all his westerns.
I love Clint Eastwood too, by the way. I don't qualify as a crush, but
no, crush. Okay, crush.
Well,
you
man
mean
crush.
Like a man
that
crush.
could be a match your man
okay,
crush.
girl crush. I mean, a crush on a woman. Let's see. Who did I like growing up?
Raquel Welch.
Welch.
Sophia Loren.
Raquel Welch wasn't too bad. Ursula Andress was kind of cute.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah. I ran into her when I was in the 80s. In the 80s, she was in her 40s. I ran into her when I was going out with Grace Jones in some club somewhere in Paris, and she still looked hot. So there you go. I know it was all natural in those days.
Yeah.
Yep.
Best Christmas gift you ever got?
Oh, man. Usually anything for my kids, any kind of cute card that says, Daddy, you're the best daddy ever. I love you. Those things would beat anything. So anything like that.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
And Dolphin, I know we've spoken about this before, and I said it must have been because you're from Sweden and hadn't really been on the scene to that level, of course, in Rocky IV, and how quick was the impact of when you appeared in the film. He said prior to the movie, he was going out with Grace Jones at the time. Grace they were asking for a bunch of pictures and what have you. 90 minutes later, after the movie came out, everybody was asking him for the pictures. He goes, in 90 minutes, my life
That's
changed
amazing.
forever. Isn't that amazing, the impact on that?
I know. Oh, I think the Rocky movies have that in their DNA somehow. Like Stallone, same thing. Nobody knew him. Yeah. One day, the next day, he was famous. Nominated for the Academy Award, and I think the same thing happened to probably Mr. T and myself and probably a lot of people. Yeah, it was weird. I think somebody said, I can't remember who it was, when somebody got famous very quickly too. Those guys who wrote what's the one about the math genius?
Ben Affleck and Matt
Ben
Damon.
Affleck. Yeah, I saw an interview. Well, Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of me when I was a kid, by the way. But I ended up doing this.
That's right. He was an engineer.
Running around with an AK-47 shooting people. But anyway, they said, that was the same thing. They were totally unknown. They wrote the script. came out, won the Academy Award, and he was nominated. I think they're both nominated, and then they said the same thing. It took them like years to get over it. Just like people you never met come up to you and they give you a hug and say, "Man, I love you." You know, my kids love we all. You know, my dad had cancer, and we watched the movies. Just like it's wonderful, but it's sometimes it's a bit too much. You know, it's wonderful, but it took me a long time to get over it, especially from a small place like Sweden.
Yeah.
Well, sorry Mario hugged you when you walked in. But
Yeah, thanks.
he was very excited.
Yeah.
We go back. All right. Well, Creed 2 is in theaters now. You can follow him on Instagram at Dolph Lundgren. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks, Mario. Always great to see you.
On with Mario Lopez.